Community is the connective tissue that is bringing together the people, the products, and the purpose. It's where the customers stop being users and become partners. We need to have a connective way to fill the gap, translate what we're trying to say, and solve problems. Relationships are at the center of everything.
Hey everyone, welcome to Know Like Trust for Real Estate, where I help real estate professionals craft branding and marketing strategies that align with who they are, not what they sell. Agents who work with me grow their business anywhere from 25 to 40%. And today I am talking to a super good friend of mine and someone who is a pioneer of community. Stacey Soleil is the head of community for Cloze, which is a relationship intelligence platform. Today, we broke down all the different aspects of community, how it's different from customer support and customer success, and how it really has become a key differentiator in all of this automation environment that we live in. So go ahead and take a listen. Hey, Stace, welcome to the Know Like Trust Pod. Love to have you here today.
My favorite podcast. Thanks for having me.
Of course it is. Oh my God, I love you.
I am loyal. I am a loyal person.
You are. You know, my husband tells me that I bleed Nestle Crunch. I bleed Miller Lite, Poland Spring Water. I mean, I'm the same. Anywhere I've worked, I...
Cut James.
Yes.
I'm going to see what I did there.
Yes,
I'm bringing it full circle.
You did. I love it. All right. We're going to get right into this because we've got I have a ton of questions for you. I'm so excited. This is, I think, the fourth episode in our customer experience series. And it's a little bit different today because today we're talking about community. You are the face of community. So I'm just going to start out by asking you, what actually is community inside a tech company like Cloze?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I think of community, I think that community is the connective tissue tissue that is bringing together the people, the products, and the purpose. Without it, you're missing that connective tissue. It's where the customers stop being users and become partners.
Oh, interesting. Like, what a visual is that, the connective tissue? I've been reading, like total sidebar, I've been reading a lot about fascia, which is essentially the connective tissue that holds everything together in your body, your muscles, your bones, your organs, all that stuff. And back in the day, they didn't really, they just thought it was a barrier to get to your organs. But now they know, scientists know so much more about it and how important it is. It's got like millions of nerve endings and like it's a critical part of your overall system. So that's a great way to think about community.
I love that you drew that parallel. It really, truly is. I mean, if we were going to create sort of a synergistic analogy and cross that into the healthcare system, I would say, yes, community is that fascia that's connecting all of us together. You know, I think that all too often, and I've been in our tech space and inside of our real estate industry for a very long time, and I've worked with a lot of different partners out there, and I've literally loved every single opportunity I've had to do this. It's incredible once you realize that you have different sort of, I would almost say in a way silos, right? You have your creators, your people who are building amazing technology that's here to solve problems. It wouldn't even happen unless somebody had this innovation, this idea like, hey, I really want to solve a problem. And so that's the beginning, right? That's kind of the starting point. And then you have the ideal customer, the person that you're trying to solve the problem for. And oftentimes what you find is that the person that you're solving the problem for and the person building the solution, they both have the same outcome. The goal is to solve that problem and to create success. But they communicate very differently.
Yeah.
I think you and I have a lot of friends that kind of are in different lanes as far as how their brain works and how they communicate. So imagine, if you will, somebody who's maybe super scientific or engineer focused, and they're very much about data. Give me large data sets to prove a theory. Let me understand the nuance behind X, Y, and Z. And it's important. It's incredibly important to have those things in place so that you can create reliable, functional outcomes. And then you have the other communicator who says, I don't like the way this makes me feel. Or, well, what is the point of this? It doesn't make sense because when I do this, I want to be able to do this, which makes me feel this way. So you have these people that communicate completely differently. And I identified this very early on in my career. And I realized that I sat somewhere right in the middle. When I did personality profiling or whatever, I've done every test out there. I have little markers in every single category. So, which is cool, right? Like Jill of all trades, wear all the hats, can communicate with whomever. However, I saw very quickly that companies, brands, and their consumers, they weren't communicating in a way where they could hear each other properly. So I decided to kind of create a role. And that role is the one that was that community leadership that connects the dots and translates. If you can translate what's happening, you can create better outcomes. So anyway, long-winded way of saying that, yes, fascia.
Yeah, connective tissue. I love it. So, but what drew you into community leadership in the first place? Was it, those markers that you found, or like what was it that drew you in?
My dad used to say, "You're a noticer. You pay attention to details." I am very detail oriented, but I like to people watch. I used to be that kid that would go to the mall and watch people.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy stalker way, but I loved to just watch human behavior. I love psychology. And identifying where gaps exist and understanding that there was a way to connect people that were on different ends but had the same goal by way of communication. And I literally created this position. It didn't exist in our industry. I created this role because I saw a need. We need to have a connective way to, fill the gap, translate what we're trying to say, and solve problems. Relationships are at the center of everything. We say it all the time. Real estate agents will say the most successful agents, they're always on your podcast talking. Relationships are at the center of everything. Well, guess what? It's at the center of everything for the tools that we use, whether it's our industry or not. This works in every single industry that exists. If you are going to connect with a human, relationships are at the center of it.
Well, so when did you realize, though, that community was more than engagement, that it was really a business strategy?
I think it's one of those things that, as a noticer, over time, like if you want to go way back, like if we're going to crawl back here, back when we had chat rooms, right, where it was before we had social media and we were in these chat rooms, people would have conversations and people would align and they'd have discourse and they'd come to decisions. Or maybe you would be a part of a Skype chat group, or maybe you would be part of a MySpace group, whatever it was. Like we're talking way back. I started noticing that there was this very human pattern of everybody needs to belong somewhere, and trying to find your people in an online space is exciting because you have so many choices, but yet very overwhelming. And so finding ways to create lanes that are very clear and inclusive and are bonding for the people that you are working with is truly, it's so important. I think every single company out there should have community leadership. And I don't even mean this selfishly because I want, a bunch of little me's running around. But I mean, we are starting to see this now. It's finally, I think it's finally a thing. In fact, I saw yesterday, it's flattering. Don't get me wrong, but it's hilarious. My exact job description that I created is now a copy paste template people use to hire within the industry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I found it on LinkedIn. I was laughing. I was like, oh, I literally wrote that. That's awesome.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, and I was flattered because I thought, okay, good. I mean, at the end of the day, that means that, it's working and that's what's important. Like when you think about everything that you do, Christine, with know, like, and trust, the foundation of connecting, how to make the heart and the head connect together. everything we do, we want purpose. We want to drive our mission forward. And so I'm thrilled to see that it's pushing forward. But now it's time to make sure that it's a serious, it's not an afterthought. I think people used to think community was an afterthought, like, oh, hire an intern from college. They're so good with the social and TikToks. It'll be fine. No. Yeah, they're great. They're amazing. Bring them on your team. But when you're talking about leadership, you need to think about business leadership and how community scales with that.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so let's dive deeper into that, because I don't think people really understand the difference between like community versus customer support versus customer success, and how that all fits into the sort of framework of an organization and how it supports the goals. Can you kind of break that down?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can make it really simple. Support fixes issues. Okay. So when you have a problem, you submit a ticket to support. They're solving a problem for you. Success drives your success team, customer success. They drive outcomes. So you have your check-in calls, your growth, your how to make sure that you're hitting your goals, right? Community is creating that belonging and that shared momentum, because you're in there with your peers. You're kind of helping each other along. And it's creating that connected moment of, this isn't just a transaction. I'm invested in this. And if you have a strong community, you feel connected and invested in as a customer. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So let's take it a one step further. And, AI has kind of taken over our world in the last 2 years, 3 years. Everything was already moving in that direction. You have so much automation. You have so many algorithms out there. You have so many SaaS companies that are out there, and they're out there to build and sell, or to build an IPO. And so, they're using as few humans as possible, right?
Yeah.
Where does community fit in that business model or in that environment?
Yeah. Listen, I will be the first to tell you, I love AI. I love AI for different reasons than I think a lot of people love AI. I don't love AI because it's going to do things for me. I love AI as a partner. And I use my AI tools. In fact, I invest in learning more about them. I love to refine my prompts. I love to learn how to do the latest innovations, because at the end of the day, we are all about, when we think about our businesses, whether you're a solopreneur as a real estate professional or in a different industry, or whether you're part of a tech company or you're running a brokerage, you're always having to operationalize, and you're going to have to scale, and you're going to have to look at your bottom line. If AI can help you to be more efficient and have more hands on deck to solve problems, you are going to be able to do so much more with so much less time. We only have 40 hours in our week, or, well, that's not true. We work way more than that. We only have 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we have to figure out how to maximize. So I think that AI is a great partner in community. It's not going to be able to create the feelings and the relationship, but I'll tell you what, in some ways, it can make us do a better job. For example, if you have a great community and you have a tool that has the capabilities to take all of your help documentation and all your best practices and SOPs and things that we solve for, and upload that into the system, and then you have your AI agent who can come in and assist with those really quick snapshot answers that are needed. People don't like to wait.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody needs help and they need help with a strategy, or like they're just a little stuck, it's not a support ticket. Mm-hmm. It's not a check-in for your growth, but it's like I'm doing this thing right now and I'm like, I can't remember. Do you do this or do you do that? Right? Having a quick response that's accurate makes you feel pretty good and makes you feel confident in that community, in that tool. So I think our AI partners, if you will, are an important part of us to do even better for our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you. I think we're in this, you've brought up so many things like belonging, inclusiveness, high response rate when you need something. I think those things AI is never going to be able to solve that stuff. AI is never going to replace the human touch. And I think we're in a time right now where, and I know you've already been so successful in your career, but I know it's going to take off even more now because I believe we're in a time where people want to be seen and heard and acknowledged and included more than ever. Because there's so much automation out there, because everything, is so tech-based. We went for a full year and a half during COVID without, any human touch. And so I think people are craving it. So I think, I believe that community has its place, and I believe now it's more important than ever.
I'll say I believe it was always important. We didn't quite understand the why. We as companies tend to, it's nature. You're thinking about your bottom line. You're thinking about the ROI. And it's been very difficult to provide data reports that can show definitively when I invest X dollars into this particular thing that's community facing, I received a return on this investment X amount, and here was the exact reasons why. So it's harder to map out that type of reporting, which if you are answering to a board, if you are answering to a public investor, if you're answering to yourself, whoever you're answering to, justification of means is an important part of the process. So that's actually one of the things that I've had fun with, Christine, is I've been working over the last several years to come up with different metrics or ways to capture metrics around the ways that community and the efforts around it are actually creating measurable, reportable data that can show proof positive that it's worth the investment.
Well, let's talk about that. So let's talk about when in an industry like yours, in a tech industry where you have a focus on community and believe that it's a strategic part of your business, when people feel part of a community, how does their behavior change in that context?
I'm going to give an example of you and I, we belong to a similar community, right? It's the same for years and years and years. We go to our Inman Connect, right? And that's a community. Right, this community of real estate professionals that go year after year to an event. And 9 times out of 10, if you ask them, what did you love about it? It's not the answer that the organizer probably wants to hear, which is, oh my gosh, the sessions were amazing. I learned so much. My career grew because I sat in that session. Sure. Yes, everything we learn, we're like a sponge. We soak it up, and if applied and used in a repeatable fashion, will create success. But most of the time, what you'll hear is people say, "I love catching up with my people." It's the only time of year where I can see some of my favorite people all in the same space, and it just feels so good to be able to start my year off or wrap my year up, whichever one you're going to, connecting the dots with people that really mean something to me. That feeling, again, here we are with that feeling thing, that sense of belonging. And I keep using this belonging word. I dropped some hints to you when we were in New York. I'm working on a project around belonging, and it's something very, 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 very meaningful to me. And I have a lot of really strong data for you nerds out there behind the business of belonging. And it's important. To your point, how does it make the person feel inside the community? It feels like I'm a part of something that's so much bigger than just a platform or just a tool or just a XYZ, whatever it is, right? People will sometimes stick around and use things more because they feel like they're part of a family.
Yeah. And so from an ROI perspective, that I would imagine is what creates the stickiness, right?
Huge.
Because what's the stat around people who, like the churn? Like what is the average churn on a tech company or a SaaS company? It's pretty high, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. It depends on the use case. It depends on there's so many different factors, right? So I can't give you like a generic churn rate, but I will say that most of the time, churn is happening or it's in progress before most people even realize it. And it's not until that person says, hey, I hit cancel, or I'm hit and send on that email. And by the time they do that,
it's over.
There's really no turning them around.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm done. I mean, if you could have been investing on your people along the way, along their journey, not just once they're mad, but like the whole way through, invest in your people. That can be listening.
Yeah.
That could be asking questions. That can be showing up for them. That could be understanding what matters to them and having alignment, right? And that means sometimes changing what you're doing based on their feedback, right? If you have enough people saying, you know what, I absolutely cannot stand when you do X, but you keep doing it anyway, right? Well, read the room. Pay attention,
yeah.
right? Community can help you to identify and solve for that.
Talk about some specific ways that your community within Cloze is creating that stickiness.
So it's really a fun thing for me. So I just joined the Cloze team at the beginning of this year. And what's really, really fun is that they understand. I didn't have to explain community to the founders.
Imagine that.
They knew what I meant. They're like, we knew we needed this. We just, we were working to get to that point. And so it's great is that I don't have to like break down a wall to help them to understand. But what's really, really fun, and it's a big project, but it's so worth it, is I'm building from the ground up here. Because like I said, this company, or I guess you all didn't hear this, but Christine and I were talking before we hit record, and I was telling her that, Cloze actually started out in the App Store. So anyone in the world could gain access to this amazing tool that would help you to focus better on your relationships and be able to, stay connected and have this relationship insight without you having to do the lift of, manually entering data constantly to take care of your relationships. So as a result of that, we had tons of different industries, tons of different use cases, and so much information, so much was learned. So there wasn't necessarily a need at the time for like, let's build a community specifically, because it was serving so many different types of communities. Fast forward, a very successful real estate team overseas reached out to the founders and said, oh my gosh, I feel like I found the unicorn. Where have you been my whole life?
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly what we need for our business. Can you just do a couple of things that would make a lot more sense for how we do it in our industry? So they sat down with the founders and, they refined it. And it's like they said, real estate found us. Like we that's how we actually ended up with our amazing clients. Sotheby's was through that whole relationship of discovering and then listening. So that whole process has been very organic. I have been really excited to come in and say, okay, I get to build from the ground up and create community. Now, community isn't just, a lot of people think, oh, community just means you're going to have a group like a Facebook group. Or, oh, platform somewhere and people join it. And then you have somebody like watch the notifications and answer questions. Okay. That is a very small piece of it. There is so much more. And I'm not going to give a master class on how to be a community builder or a community leader. Like you're going to have to book an appointment with that one. But
yeah.
I actually mentor a lot of people in our industry, by the way, because when I told you that this role didn't exist for many years, over the years, it was really funny. I think I was with another company several years back, and I was at an event and someone came up to me and said, we're trying to hire a Stacey for my name became a job role.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, so
I know. I was like, that's funny, right?
If it's not a Facebook group or just a Facebook group, what else is it?
There's so much more. So if you think about community is not just a place that you gather. It's how you get the right groups of people connected, how you get the right groups of people connecting with one another, how you identify what matters to these groups of people and how you support it. So it's an advocacy piece, it's advisory piece, it's peer-to-peer learning, it's event focus, it's social listening, it's social engagement, it's having the groups, having the monitoring. There's so many different levels, layers, and the reporting. You got to have the reporting as well.
Yeah.
There's so many different pieces of this. And if, depending on the size of your company, and guess what? Real estate agents, you should be using community in your business with your clients as well. It's not just the companies and the tools that you use that you're a part of a community, but you should be building community around your people as well.
So again, it's like we're reading each other's minds. Like that was going to be my next question. So, what does building community look like for a real estate agent? Like how would they even, what would be the first thing that an agent would do to try to build community in their business?
A lot of the really successful agents are already doing that, and they have been doing this for years. And maybe they didn't call it community, but they have been doing it. When you think about, depending on which coaching program you use, you hear, we've heard like, be the mayor of your town, or, be the person that you are, the person that's most referred. You're that person who is that connected. Here we go with that connective tissue. You're the fascia of your community. And so
kind of a gross thought, but yeah.
I don't know. You know how my brain works. You're going to get me stuck on this, and I'm going to stay in this
fascia.
You're probably going to get a massage, like one of those like fascia massages as a thank you gift for having me on your podcast.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Don't brand it. Stop branding your gifts, people. Anyway,
right. Nobody wants something branded. I know. I'm totally guilty of doing it too. Anyway, we digress.
We all do. We digress. This is squirrel. Just a squirrel moment.
Question was, if I'm a real estate agent, building
community?
Yes.
Yeah. So in your community, you're serving the people that you serve inside your community. That is your community, right? So whether it is that you are hosting events, like a lot of you do, you host an event, whether it's, once a year for my sphere of influence or my clients or my referral base or all in one, or maybe it's just for people that filled out a form and they came to your buyer seminar, or how to be a seller, or how to age out and not end up in a retirement home, whatever the case may be, you're building community. What you do with that group of individuals, if they only sit in your CRM or on your spreadsheet or in your phone, and you're not doing something more to create a real community experience for your people, you're missing out. And there's so much you can do, and it doesn't happen fast. It doesn't. So if you are looking for a really quick, snap your finger, it happened overnight, thank goodness I ticked that box. Well, it won't work. It's not going to happen. But I can tell you right now, if you don't do it, it will feel like a snap of a finger when you become irrelevant.
Well, right. And because it'll never happen, right? If you don't do anything, it'll never happen. It's like, if you don't ask, the answer is definitely no. Agents ask me all the time, like, how long does it take to an advertising campaign to work? And it's anywhere from 18 to 24 months done consistently. Is that the same timeline for building community, or is it faster or slower?
I've seen it go both ways, right? I've seen, communities pick up quickly because of, if you have the privilege of timing, where you show up and you build right at the right time, right as people need something, and you have the resources and the capability to do everything you need to do to get a quick resolve, that happens sometimes. But most of the times it's a very slow burn, right? It's a build. It's a wait. It's patience. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's like parenting, right?
Yeah.
You have a kid and they go through all their phases and they don't become the amazing human that you are so excited they became until they grew up, right?
Yeah.
It took time. And so there's so many different iterations that, communities go through. I will say this, if you're somebody who maybe runs a community, whether it's for your business or it's some, whatever the case may be, however you landed on this, just know that when you go into your reporting dashboard and you're looking at your numbers and you're feeling maybe feeling like I'm not doing a good job. Like I'm not getting my likes. I'm not getting my shares. Nobody's commenting. I'm doing something really bad. I must be bad at this. I'm going to just stop you for a minute and just have you really look again. Okay. The ego tries to drive a lot of what we do. Even if we say it's not, it does. And sometimes the likes and the comments feel validating, which is, again, that's an ego stroke, friends.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's a business stroke, right? Where you can say, look, I can prove definitively I did X, Y, and Z, and voila, you're welcome. That being said, if you look behind the scenes, if you look at the numbers, the reach, if you look at, how many people actually came across your post, they may not have taken action. They may not have liked it. They may not have left a comment. It doesn't mean that what you shared wasn't meaningful and didn't stay in their brain. It just means that they were busy. They didn't stop. They were just scrolling.
Yeah.
Or it means I don't actually want anyone to know I'm thinking about this right now.
Yeah.
Because that's revealing.
Yeah.
That's so revealing, right? Some people like to be, I do that. Sometimes I'm just I told you I'm a noticer, right?
Yeah.
I'm going through and I'm kind of like, ooh, okay. Well, I don't really want to click a like on that because then everyone's going to kind of know I'm in that thought process over here. And that feels very invasive to me. How many other people are doing that? A lot.
Yeah.
So ask yourself this. Have you ever been somewhere at an event, a dinner party, whatever the case may be, and you're talking to someone and they say, I don't remember where I saw it, but I remember seeing that X, Y, and Z. Probably they saw it on social media. They were scrolling through. They saw something. It registered in their brain. And they can't attribute exactly the date, exactly who, exactly what, but it was planted. It was like a seed planted in their brain. Or how many times have you been somewhere and says, oh my gosh, I see your stuff on social all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
you feel like
why don't you like
community?
it? It's a part of community. Absolutely. Think about it. If you have your social network, okay, whether you're a TikTok person, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, your church chat board, I don't know, like whatever the place is that you're having conversations, right?
Yeah.
That's part of your community. Because if you engage with another person, you're building a relationship, you're building rapport, you're showing support for one another, you're building community.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because you can have community living in lots of different places because you have an account here, I have an account here.
Yeah.
You're over here, you're over there. And how you connect with one another is showing up for your community.
I think that if you're a real estate professional listening, I think the moral of the story that I'm taking away is community lives in all parts of your business. And so it doesn't need to be one event or, one Facebook group. It really is your online community and your offline community. And I think the important thing is that you're nurturing the relationships wherever you might be, online or offline. So Stacey, I absolutely love this. Stacey Soleil is the head of community at Cloze. Before we close our chat today, I would like to ask you to finish this sentence.
Okay.
Know, like, trust is.
Know, like, trust is the formula for creating connections that are meaningful, sustainable, and purpose-driven.
It's the fascia.
You know what? I cannot wait. It's like I feel like every time you give me the opportunity to be a part of your podcast, we have inside jokes that last for an entire year.
Oh, 100%.
I'm gonna come back really fast and say this. If you want another little secret tip,
yes.
If you want your community to be the best possible community it can be, no matter how much money you have to pour into it, no matter how much time you have to commit to it, the secret ingredient, I'll tell you what my secret ingredient is to every community I've ever built. You ready?
Yes.
Have personality.
Right. I call it your weird. Like your weird is your wealth.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like just be who you are.
And make space for your community members to have their personality as well.
That's the inclusiveness. How can people find you?
If you go anywhere online and you type in Stacey Soleil, like Cirque du Soleil, I am everywhere.
Yeah.
I will connect with you wherever you want to be. You want to be on Instagram, you want to be on LinkedIn, I am literally everywhere. So that's what that's what the fascia does, is we are everywhere.
And if people wanted to get more information on Cloze, how do they find Cloze?
Yeah, you just go to ai.cloze.com.
Perfect. Stacey, thank you so much for being with us today. You know how much I love and adore you.
The feeling is mutual, and I'm so proud of what this podcast has done, is continuing to do, and I'm so incredibly proud of you, my friend. So if you are listening, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe and make sure you leave comments and you share and you engage, because you're a part of her community, and community is a two-way street. So let's all connect and build community together.
Thanks, Stacey.
The end.
Ciao, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to the show. And as Stacey said, if you like this conversation, make sure to share it with a friend. Hit follow on your podcast app, or if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss another episode. Sign up for my newsletter, The Sunbeam. Go to postandbeamcreative.com and sign up. And until next time, I'm Christine George, and you're listening to Know, Like, Trust for Real Estate.